First time.
Look who is here. We have got the co-pilot himself,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Jen
Rick.
Hobbs. What's up?
Thank you. First time this side of the camera. So
Yeah. How's that
excited.
feeling?
It's good. I mean, the lights are brighter over here.
Yeah,
but
it's
nice.
a different world.
Yeah,
a whole
for
new
sure.
world.
A
as
whole
they
new
say.
world. Yeah.
So what on earth are you doing here?
So in case for the people watching that don't know, over the past 4 or 5 months, you and I have kind of, as you like to say, put the peanut butter and jelly together.
Peanut butter and chocolate.
Peanut butter and chocolate.
For all the Gen Xers out there, there used to be this recurring gimmick in Reese's peanut butter cup commercials where two people that were like completely opposite ends of whatever would, through circumstance or fate, crash into each other, and they would always be holding chocolate and peanut butter. And it was like magic. It worked. Yes.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what has been happening here, as we were just talking and alluding to a minute ago, before we went live. The fact that it has been an incredible amount of synergy and connection, and like even here where we were like messing with the app that we wouldn't have if it wasn't for you. So technically, just give a little bit of your origin story, since I've been blathering for 70 weeks on this.
So for the past 8 years or so, I've been operating, I guess what I consider like a boutique real estate media company. I mean, we're not like a big box store. We try to keep our client base between like 150 and 200 clients, which is still pretty heavy. But we just focus on real estate architecture and design. So photos, videos, floor plans, twilights, Matterports, whatever new gimmick, because it's a moving target, right? Like what is cool now is not necessarily what's going to be cool in 6 months, but supporting those agents through whatever they need from a listing content standpoint or from a marketing standpoint. And I think you and I have kind of been in competition, but like past each other, just like different circles, but we cross paths all the time. And I think maybe 5 or 6 months ago, because we were doing masterminds with Ashley Gentry, and like I think that's where I first ran into you.
Absolutely.
Shout out Ashley.
Yes, shout out to Ashley and Michelle by extension.
Yeah, and Michelle by extension.
The gals of Winning Women's Wednesday. And so it's funny because Ashley and Michelle, who are now just, attached at the hip, wouldn't have met had they not been doing, or had the shows not been happening here, and by a confluence of events, they were on a show together with me where we interviewed Ashley. And then as I was watching it back, because we used to record rather than them being live, so I would always clean it up and gussy it up and make sure everything looked nice before we faked like it was live. And I literally was watching it as a byproduct of cleaning it up. And I was like, holy shit, this is really good. And so I asked Michelle if she'd be into asking Ashley if she would be a regular co-host. And so all of that just perfectly came together. And so while I'm tickled that I was their matchmaker, Ashley has the same thing for us.
I was going to say, because Ashley was the one over, and I don't remember when the time was when we were just like, oh my God, like there's some there, like there's real synergy, I guess, for lack of a better term.
It was for me, it was whenever I saw the larval stage of the mobile, which is now parked out back.
Yep.
And, as Ashley could attest, because she really got me good last summer. But as Ashley could attest, I have the ability to be super petty and jealous.
Well, you got jealous of my toy?
Oh my God, I was like, well, in reality, it's like, fuck, why didn't I think of that?
So for people that haven't seen this, I've put together basically a studio similar to the green screen we have
what we're
in
looking
studio
at here in the Brick-and-mortar.
And we've shrunk it down and we put it into a large trailer that allows us to pull up our studio functionality directly to somebody's front door.
Yes,
right. And so real game changer.
My
for what we
shorthand
can
for
do.
it is like if you were at Clyde Warren Park and instead of like the food truck coming up, it's instead of putting a kitchen into it, it's actually a fully functioning green screen studio, and more importantly, it's content on the fly.
Yeah, so like the real secret sauce, right, is the fact that you've got a button you can hit to start video, button you can hit to stop,
and that you
can walk away with content. Yeah, we kind of gamified it, right?
Yes,
it feels good. You can go in there by yourself. You don't have somebody holding a camera in your face being like action, like you're in control of you're almost like the director.
Yes.
Because you have a console in front of you that lets you change the background and the lower
and
thirds.
You can freak out, you can hit the panic button, you can stop, you can start, you can do whatever.
There's no penalty for sucking. Like there's no you don't feel embarrassed because it's your
content.
content. Like nobody has to see it. And a lot of times I'm putting clients in by themselves, like we kind of show them the ropes. It's like a photo booth.
Yeah.
And
like,
you kind of show them the ropes, and they come out and they're
words.
just like, wow.
Yes.
And then I can dump that straight to their phone. I can dump it to a USB
provided
key.
that they are an Apple phone user.
Yeah, well, we can airdrop it. But yeah.
Oh no, I just always kind of have to rip on the non-Apple folks.
We can write all of that content directly to a USB key, and they can walk away with content. So usually, like if you're shooting stuff on your own, you got to put it into like CapCut or something to put your green screen replace. We do all that live, like a weatherman, right? We replace the background, we do the lower thirds, and it's great. It's really cool.
Any top agent or small business owner would tell you, okay, the more productive you get as far as revenue, and monetarily and or just business in general, the fewer hats you have time to wear. And the fewer, new things you have time to learn. That would be providing that you even had the impetus to do it in the first place.
Yeah, and the fact that like all these video things like isn't really the core business of a lot of the people we're working with. So like, how do I shrink? How do I make that more efficient?
Yes,
right? Because I just don't have the
100%.
time to dump into that because there's higher and better uses. Well,
Yes.
I mean, our argument is there's not many higher and better uses than to put yourself out there and, educate your clients.
In today's world, I mean, with the atomized attention span that we all have, I freely admit, like YouTube has destroyed my attention span.
100%.
It's like
GPS and somewhere between like social media and YouTube and GPS and like made my brain mush.
If I was young now, I couldn't do shit without like some sort of digital aid.
Right.
Because even now, I will freely admit, I will look. And even if the subject is super compelling and it might even be like tailor-made for me, if it's over a certain threshold of time on the little
I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm out.
I'm like 4 minutes. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly. 7 minutes, okay, but maybe at like 1.35.
Yeah.
I might give it that.
I do not play things. A lot of people play it like time and a half, 1.5. Like I'll do my Audible stuff. Sometimes I'm trying to crank through that.
Yeah.
But I never watch my video at speed.
I do. The only time I'm not watching something sped up at least a little bit is if it's music, and otherwise I just feel like, oh my God, get to the point, where it's literally, I have zero patience, I have zero attention, and it isn't really like I have so much going on that I couldn't, spend a little time on this or that, but it's just gone, and tying that back into the quick and dirty. And the thing I loved about the mobile was it took all of those things into account, where I was simultaneously, is it convergent evolution? Where like the two things, like if I'm on Madagascar and you're on the mainland or whatever, we're like both.
We're evolving the same time, the same conditions, but separate from each other.
In the same direction.
Yeah.
I was doing the same thing in the brick and mortar. And that was just purely accidental because of circumstance prior to COVID, where I was, plugged into one of the largest brokerages here as one of their trainers. And then I ended up with a brick and mortar studio in Frisco that they didn't know what they didn't know, and they didn't know what they had. And so one thing led to another, and we cycled in like probably 75 agents on a pilot program. And it was like, oh, it was the exact thing that you were doing in the mobile, but in real life in the studio. And well, then COVID happened. And then boom, here we are, totally different set of circumstances. And oddly enough, what we're doing now, the live stream and all of that, was not on my bingo card. And then it turns out it's like, oh, that's a thing. And it's a completely different animal than what you were talking about earlier, where we cycle them in and you just do the essentially set it and forget it and hit and run type of content, which in today's world is really all you need.
I mean, yes. I mean, if you're looking to crank out a significant amount of content, like sitting here, and you will paralyze yourself trying to make it perfect, right? And like you say, done's good enough, or done's better than perfect, right?
Done supersedes perfect.
Done supersedes perfect a lot of the time, and if we're working on and we're focused on the right things, like educating our clients on things that they don't know, and not rah-rahing ourselves, but being more of an advocate for the people that we serve.
100%.
The content, the quality, it's vanity. You're just trying, you're making it look perfect and looking like a YouTube podcast or something is vanity at the end of the day. We're trying to dump our knowledge into our clients' brains and meet them where they're at, right? On social,
which
on
is
the phone.
huge. And there is that element of, okay, they know they need to do it and they want to, but then it's like, okay, how do I get over that? Well, that's really our job.
Yeah, taking all the barriers down.
Yes.
Make it super easy.
And that was the thing I loved about the mobile. And the thing I was like, shit, because no matter how cool, like, okay, so I when I put this place together, it was like, I still want to get the 86-inch TV.
We're definitely doing that.
We're definitely doing
100%.
Because I wanted to be like a punch in the face where you walk in, you're like, oh shit, and almost there. However, that's a double-edged sword because that has the impressive wow factor when you walk in, but it also can paralyze folks, you know, because we've had people come in and it's also a crapshoot when people come in with more than one of their associates because they can either calm each other down or they can gas each other up. And the cool thing with the mobile is that's not really a factor because even whenever we rolled it out at Metrotex, even on a just terrible shit day as far as weather went, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And the reaction that everybody had that was in it, because it is big enough to where, you know, there were 4 or 5 folks in there.
Oh, yeah. You
hanging out.
can fit like comfortably 3 or 4 wide in the shot. And then there's space on the other side to put a couple chairs or like hang out. I mean, it's a decent sized space.
Yeah,
I mean, when I say trailer, it's not.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like whenever we actually had a bunch of folks in there and you could have the looky-loos and, again, the ones that want to, they see how the sausage is made and they're not freaked out or they're less freaked out. And then a lot of times they will think like, well, shit, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, come on then.
Yeah.
You know, and the beauty of the mobile is we could bring it to you versus you got to get in the car and come here. And
here is cool. I mean, it's pretty.
yes.
I mean, here's cool.
Yeah. Not to be ungrateful or anything like, because like even now I come in here because I ostensibly live like a unsupervised 15-year-old anyhow. So I come in here and it's like, oh, wow, this is the man cave of all man caves. Especially if I have all the gimmicks behind me with like Star Trek or whatever. And it's like Star Trek on 8 giant screens everywhere. And it just, you know, I could just sit here and be like, this is amazing. You know, I could live here.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And now, again, we've got cool stuff here because one of the things I'll freely admit that you brought and you've seen it in real time where this might as well be the first episode of Building the Plane in Midair where
kind of pull back the open the kimono kind of show.
Yeah, we can absolutely pull back because one of the things and one of the reasons why Ashley was so tickled and remains tickled by the whole thing is that our particular individual neuroses kind of complement each other where I'm like even earlier and I appreciate it because you and Austin, shout out to Austin over there sitting at the board.
Doing a great job.
So the beauty of that is y'all two are like dialing in the white balance and like all the gimmicks and making sure everything looks kick-ass. And I'm just like, I don't know, dude, we can just go live, you know? And
just like 5 minutes ago, we're like, can we tweak this and lights here? And Rick's like, let's just roll.
Yeah, we can just do it. You know, we can just go live. And of course, the reality or the balance is somewhere in the middle. And I didn't have that. And so as you saw the just baling wire and chewing gum and you know, fishing line that everything was held together with, because my thing has always been, as long as I didn't have to go get a job next week, it's all good.
Yep.
You know, I might rob Peter to pay Paul, you know, and then let's not tell Peter that I robbed Mark to pay
that the money's not quite there.
Yeah. And so it's always just keep the ball in play. And you were like infinitely more responsible and dialed in from a systems and processes kind of a thing. And I can't tell you how much of a relief that was to have, because it's like I would have certainly given lip service to like, oh, this is necessary. Yes, of course.
Well, do you have the bandwidth to execute it, right?
Right.
Like, and especially with this and the listing side of everything.
Yeah, the answer was no.
The answer is no. Hard no.
Yeah, hard no. And one of the things about my personal journey, if you will, on all of this was getting to a place to realize that and to be like, oh shit. And then when I had somebody like you, because I would freely admit you're orders of magnitude better than me with all the actual, like how the shit works and like what the buttons do. Oh,
I wouldn't put me on the hook for that, but thanks.
Yeah. You know, even the way y'all are talking earlier, I'm like, oh, I don't know, dude, just put it on full auto. It'll be fine. And just to be able to have that and like where you did the Zoom call the other day because newsflash, we are also in Tarrant County.
Yes.
And shout out to Corey out there wherever he is.
Corey Turner.
Yes, at random at the moment. taken over the Colleyville studio. Shout out to Brooke and everybody over at Cherry Creek Mortgage. And you did the Zoom call interview with the the four musketeers that I sort of wrangled out of nowhere. And I'm like, here, talk to these guys.
All really good, talented people, all very experienced.
Thank God for small favors.
I mean, yeah, the goals we have 6 photographers that are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, with the idea of you and I being like the emergency.
Oh yeah, like overflow
the
or like
ripcord.
special project type thing. And they're all incredibly talented. They all have great. I mean, their portfolios kind of speak for themselves. And so my goal over the next several months is to probably match the be more consistent across the board. I think the most challenging thing when you have several people doing art in a lot of these homes is there's a lot of stylistic choices, and we just want to make sure that like we're elevating the quality and consistency of the content across the board as we're doing that. And then in parallel with that, how do we continue to iterate on our back-end processes and the way we present things to the clients to make sure that that experience is better, right? Everybody that works for us, with us, and for us, meaning like our photographers and how they interact with our systems and how our clients interact with our systems. So the app is one of those things, right?
Yes. Which, oh my God, what an ordeal that was.
Yeah, you learn something about
Bro.
technology and like what it takes is pulling teeth sometimes, but we're here.
Like, every internet service provider out there is conspiring to just jack shit up 24 hours a day. And that was the most maddening thing and to be honest, I ended up where I would literally get whomever, sent us it's this error. And I'd be like, could you screenshot that and send that to me? Then I'm doing ChatGPT. And
searching error codes.
Yeah, and I'm literally getting the fix for a given error code and sending that to the app people. And I would just do it relentlessly. Where I'm like, I'm going to do this every day.
It just because the problems we were having, the developers couldn't replicate because it was the ISPs or whatever how you were connected.
And even like we were dealing with yesterday or the day before, the Anywhere, .re or whatever, the parent company of Coldwell Banker, they have, and I totally get it as a mortgage guy in a previous life. And when you're dealing with real estate, anything that involves contracts and assets and, whatever, personal information, there's compliance out the wazoo. And so everybody's got Fort Knox, the Iron Curtain, whatever at their office, and rightfully so. However, whenever that travels with that person everywhere they go, and it's like, okay, they're just trying to log into a website. They're not trying to send documents. It's like, could we have a portal for that, please? Yeah. But we were dealing with that. And so that's but I mean, oh my God, just to be so close to the complete and total finish line of the app. And then the fact that it actually is kick-ass.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, as far as a tool that we can put in the palm of our clients' hands.
And the reason being there is that anybody that uses it then actually has access to all of the content in perpetuity, where it's like, okay, if you have a listing presentation and you've done good work or you have had good work done, you should be able to use that and leverage that in the future. Yeah.
Time out real quick. If you haven't downloaded the app, go to your app store and type in studioUSA, all one word. And give that a download because we're just going to talk ad nauseum. And they're like, what are they talking about? Just go try it out because it works really well.
Bringing me back to the real world.
Well, I mean, sometimes we get ahead. We forget that like most people aren't living in our own heads every day. But yeah, very easy to place new orders, which is something I wanted to make easier for our clients. Easier to. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed in like playing with it is how easy it is to get the content to like my socials.
Yes.
Right. And so it eliminates kind of the middleman if I was using my desktop or like a clunky app, like using even Chrome, like using
or like trying to get somebody like, okay, now go to Dropbox, now save it to your phone, and okay, so now that it's on your phone, no, go to look at the camera roll. It should be in the camera roll. Okay, now go back to Facebook,
exactly,
and then open it up from your camera. It's like, oh my God, dude, we could teach classes just on that, how to get a file from Dropbox to your phone to Facebook,
right? So just simplifying that process, right, and just like eliminating and trying to remove some barriers for our clients to do the things that they need to do on a daily basis. And so like creating the processes and the systems and the back end on our end to make that all smooth has been kind of my number one directive.
Yes,
right?
And we're there. And then speaking of the processes and stuff, So what are your thoughts now after a couple months in of having just like this, like herding cats where, cause you were essentially boutique,
one man show,
yeah,
roughly.
one man
I mean,
band.
like I had my ecosystem partners. Like I get overwhelmed. I'm like, hey, so and so can do it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, I mean, that was their
Pinch
system.
hitters.
Yeah, just bringing in
Yeah.
a pinch hitter. Yeah.
And so that now you've come fully formed into the world of, admittedly, a total, you know, fire drill most of the time. But, you know, you went from solo guy, and so now you're experiencing too, where, okay, my day does not solely consist of driving and shooting, uploading, driving and shooting and uploading, which that is a total game changer. And it's kind of a mind bender at the beginning for sure. At least it was for me. And then there's the, I have to have a death grip on everything. And so
only I can do it.
Yeah,
yeah. They
exactly.
can't relinquish this because it's too important to my overall product or whatever.
Yeah.
And so
to whatever the thing is that's freaking me out.
Yeah.
This is a necessity.
I become my own bottleneck and
Yes.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, and so like now, what do you think of thus far? Where what do you probably like pulled back? What 30%, 40% on
all my shoots?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be doing 3 to 5 a day. Now I've got 1 today. I had one yesterday.
So what do you think?
I mean, it's great. It's a relief in time now. I got to make sure that I'm using my time efficiently, and there's a to-do list a mile long. So prioritizing,
Yes.
like where do I spend my effort
yes,
and
of
energy, is something that I'm getting better at. I hope.
Yeah, well, and that was I mean, even like back when I got sober,
Yeah.
it was like I had no idea how much time I spent getting wasted. That you're like, wow, there's all these hours in the day.
Well, for so many years, it was literally wake up in the morning, go to your shoot, all the way to twilight, at least 3 or 4 nights a week. And then this time of year, twilight's what, 8:30,
Yeah,
8:40,
yeah, you're coming
something
home
like that.
you're coming home and uploading by 10 o'clock.
I mean, and in the beginning, you're saying yes to everything. So like you're in Burleson, you're in Cedar Creek
dude.
Lake, you're up in
world
like
tour.
Sherman,
Yeah,
right?
every day's a
driving home
world
from a
tour.
twilight.
Yeah.
So, and that was, beginning it was like 6 days a week, but dialed that back and like have slowly been dialing it back. And so to not have that wake up, holy cow, I've got 12 hours worth of work before I can actually do other work that needs to get
Yeah.
done. Like I have
Or
12 hours of
anything.
have to do's
Yeah.
before I can get to like any of my want to do's, has been really kind of eye opening. Because I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't have a shoot till 10:30. Like I've got from whatever time I get up.
breakfast.
Yeah, I can have breakfast. I can sit down and like go through the emails. I can strategize.
I can talk to my wife.
Let's look at some of those packages and make sure that like we are covering all our clients correctly and like what they like to order and that's priced correctly. I can look at that stuff instead
Yeah.
of just like whatever, like throw it out, and if it works. Because what usually happens is like a client calls and they're like, I need such and such and such. It's different than what you have. And you're like, okay, I'll like make a widget for that. And then it goes in there in the system and it just lives there forever. And we use it sometimes.
Yeah,
and
because I laughed my ass off the one time you're like, hey, what is, and I was like, dude, that I know that's in there, and I know that I put that in there, and I swear to God, at the time, it made total sense, and I could have justified it. However, now it looks like the data entry of a crazy person.
Yeah, but you talked about like parallel evolution. Like both of us had that issue because
Yeah.
both of us were swamped. Like my back-end system looked the same way because I was solving the same problems the same way. Just
you make it up as you go.
Lack of time. Like let's just go.
That's
like,
the other funny part
forward.
is there is no roadmap for any of this, because it's like my feed on all my platforms or whatever is just hustle porn 24 hours a day because I freely admit I transferred my alcoholism to workaholism. And the nice thing is it pays better and it's a lot more rewarding as far as your self-esteem goes.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
no, dude, we got things going on.
Sure, yeah.
I love it. And now to have this like ever expanding network of everything to where, again, building the plane in midair, absolutely. I recommend it, because, I used to have the analysis paralysis thing, and I used to have, because I thought like, whatever it was, fill in the blank, X is terminal. If this doesn't work, then it turns out like, wow, none of that shit's true.
Yeah.
And then, kind of what I would teach the guys and gals as they come in, it's like the creatives, like you were saying before, oh, we're all making art or whatever. So they're all emotionally attached to it and whatever. And it's like, oh, the soonest I can get somebody to realize nobody cares. That one person cares about that one thing, this 1 minute right now. 3 weeks from now, not even going to care, and usually they care right now because of something else coming out sideways. And it's not because of anything you did or any sort of objectively shitty job you did content-wise. Now, sometimes, yes, of course. Well, then you just
we're
deal
not
with
batting 1,000.
Yeah,
I mean, we try.
But you just deal with that for the fact, like, oh, okay, actually, we did drop the ball on this. We suck, you know? And the funny part is if you're upfront about that, most people don't. Most people are ready for an argument, or they're assuming that there's going to be pushback. If you're like, oh no, we totally ate it on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm always of the mind, like I judge the people I work with by how they respond when things don't work well, right?
Yes.
Because like never, if you have any relationship with any vendor, any ecosystem partner that's helping you in your day-to-day, like there will be something that doesn't go right. Right. And what's more important than it going right all the time is how you respond and adapt when things don't go well.
Yes.
Right. And that's, that's something I tried. Like, that's why, we totally own up when we suck.
Absolutely.
We screwed that up. Oh my God,
Yeah.
let me fix that right now. Like, it's
Yes.
never like, well, it's really your fault because, or like, well,
It's like, oh, that's what they want to hear.
yeah, because I want to come back, and we had a issue the other day with like we changed some pricing, and we totally missed like a group of our clients that really needed a product set that we didn't offer in like a bundle, right? And when they put it together in our a la carte pricing, it was just not at the price point where they were used to, right?
Right. And theoretically, everybody in the marketing world or the pricing and distribution world would say, well, you want that. So you kind of like it's IKEA. It's the line that you walk through where they force you to see all the shit that they want you to see. Well, yeah, of course. However, if you have somebody like you said, where it's like, well, they have this specific need set that is.
And I want to order that over and over and over.
It's not rocket scientist, or a rocket scientist to go like, well, let's do that. Like, okay, that makes total sense. And the thing is, like, we wouldn't have thought of it if you didn't ask.
Yeah, we didn't know, like blind spot, right?
Right.
And we're like, thanks for coming. That's also a good part of having like good clients that don't just like ghost you when like something goes wrong. Like, see ya, that didn't
Guys
work.
are so
Bye.
say.
Yeah,
Yes.
they called and they're like, hey, this doesn't work for us. And we're like, cool, let's fix it. Like we sat down, we fixed it, and we got it at a price point we wanted, and a way that's not going to take them. It probably reduced the amount of order time because they don't have to like click all the things and like the human error by a ton, because now it's a one button order and we're done. So that thing, like how we respond to adversity is really important.
Well, and I'm a huge fan of just that sort of loyalty on both sides, where it's, and I say this, often, where it's like, I don't know, there are folks out there that I'll do stuff for that I wouldn't even think of or to charge for or whatever, just because of the relationship. It has nothing to do with whether or not a thing is difficult or whatever. And I just sort of came into that mindset naturally. And thank God we're both on the same page for that too. And at the end of the day, it's, yes, of course, I don't want to go work in a cubicle again, ever. And I would literally move in here and sleep under the table before I did. However, I'd been dealing with,
I have the same scars.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, oh my God, yeah, it does suck when that happens. Or like, it's so amazing when this happens. And just to be on the other side of that now, and just to have that sort of like force multiplier is kind of what I call it, And so, hey Wayne, you might be getting bumped.
Oh, Wayne. I like watching Wayne's Fighter Friday. Yeah, we have to come up with like a new gimmick for us.
Well,
that
like
would be like
building the plane.
Thursday.
This is, because it's like, I love the pulling the curtain back. Yeah. And because like, you're the only one that's actually seen just how rickety.
I mean, not anymore. Like, but there were.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about like, I often say, I freely admit, where there were times where if something wasn't actively on fire, I don't care. Because that's a necessity. Because, oh my God, if I sat around worrying about all the shit that is possible to worry about, I'd just be in the fetal position over there shaking. Yeah. And then the flip side of that is who dares wins, and there's an element of just go live. Who cares? Nobody cares. Now, I say nobody cares, but that doesn't mean I don't care. Yeah. That means operate under the umbrella and the philosophy that none of this is fatal. Like, even if it just totally shits the bed, none of it's fatal. Unless, of course, it kills you. Then it is fatal. Then
something eventually will be fatal.
Yeah, something will. But, dude, let's do this more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is fun. We should, I'd like ideas on like what we should talk about to start talking to people about what's going on in the week or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm open to ideas because this is fun. This is good.
Hell yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right on.
All right.